That's a long story why people love him. It is really. He started in '88, as they established Fidesz, the party itself, as an anti-communist party, a young party. They were in the 20s. They were in the 20s back then, and were radical liberal young guys. After that, in the mid 90s, as back then in '94, the Hungarian conservative party collapsed, and the right side of the political spectrum collapsed. Orban made a politically wonderful decision and said, okay, there are strong parties, and the ex-communist party is in power again. So on the left side there is no place, and on the liberals went on coalition with socialists or the ex-communists back then in '94. But there is political space on the right side. So he became, so to say, a liberal conservative back then, and he was the leader of the citizens, so to say. It was the citizen back then, what Orban, it was the main message, to make politics for the citizens. And it worked. What communism left here was a disaster. And of course, you cannot solve in 4 years all the problems, and unemployment began. Millions lost their jobs in the early 90s. In Poland, for example, where they said, okay, the former communists cannot take any public office for 5 years or 10 years. That was a decision, and the problem was quite solved. In Hungary, nothing happened. The old communists and reform communists and all these people were sitting in the same chairs. So it was quite easy to come back for them. After that, they still remained the biggest force. Sometimes they lost the elections in '98, where Orban first came as prime minister, but they just did not believe. I think that was a real surprise for everybody that they are off the office. They came then back, so it looked like that there are two powers, the right and the left, and very small. It just depends on the campaign and everything, how they, not on the governing itself, but because the two sides are similar in size. And this was what Orban saw in 2002, as he lost the elections. Then he had a plan that, okay, we have to beat them really. So we have to tear them apart to pieces somehow. And then he changed the whole party, Fidesz. In 2003, they had a new party constitution, and the strong man, the leader, is out of question. And it's also in the party constitution that the whole system is not really a democratic one, that you have debates and debates and debates and nothing happens. But if you are part of that party, then there is one leader, and he has rights to, and of course you have to vote and something. But he tried to strengthen the party itself in the society. He tried to get as many people as he can get, not into the party itself, but in civil circles. It was the name of these circles, to support the thoughts and all this. So he socialized, maybe, the politics. And although he did that, he lost in 2006 again. The socialists did it for the first time with the liberals. They always govern together with the liberals. That they could win after they governed. The only problem was that they lied. It was the debt was in the sky. They have taken a lot of money from IMF, from other sources, and in 2006, as they won, of course they had to cut all the social the money and for the people, and so they got, of course, less popular because of that. And there was the famous Gyurcsány speech. I don't know if you've heard of them. Gyurcsány was the leader and the prime minister, Ferenc Gyurcsány. And in September 2006, it came out. It was a secret speech before the parliamentary club of the socialists, where he such them the truth, so to say, that we did not govern, we just lied. Now we have to do something because it's such a crisis what we managed together. That now we have to do something to reform the state and everything because it's a disaster and we are not far away from bankruptcy. I mean the state. And this is what he told them, but he did not tell it to the public. He had this speech before the socialists closed doors in May, after they won the election, and in September it came to light, and somebody gave it to the national radio, the tape, and everybody could hear what the prime minister really thinks. Of course, riots were on the streets here in Astoria too. Maybe you saw the pictures where the riots began, and it was quite funny back then on the streets of Budapest. And after that, Orbán decided to go not the radical way, but the efficient way. He realized, okay, now what can we do? We can. He could have be on top of these riots and stand there as the leader of the riots. He did not. He had a speech here at Astoria and something, but and had, of course, statements and something, but he was not the freedom fighter who will stand here on the cars, on top of the cars, and tell the people let's do it, and we go to the parliament and destroy it. And no, he was just okay. Let's wait, and he was right. He just knew that time is on his side now. So as time goes by and socialists and liberals won't resign, and Gyurcsány won't resign, that was Orbán's interest. The right decision had to be for Gyurcsány to resign immediately. Look, if in Italy you hear the tape where the prime minister says, we were not governing, we just lied to the people all the time. What we were doing was shit. Now it's a disaster. I don't tell the people, of course, but you have to know that we are so far away from bankruptcy, so close to bankruptcy, and you hear it on the radio as a secret speech. Of course you want your prime minister to resign immediately. And if he doesn't do that, of course you will be angry. And it will destroy him to the next elections. And this is what happened. And of course, they were governing very bad too. So the socialists made very big mistakes. And because they had to do something, we were really close to bankruptcy, they had to go against their own voter part, and this is what you cannot do in politics. And Fidesz and Orbán, his communication was very good, of course, so it was quite easy. Gyurcsány's fault. That was it. I think most of the things, it doesn't begin in Trianon or in 1990 or the communist era. The main thing what we see here on the political landscape, it's 2006, where it all begins. That's the origo point of the story now, what we see now.